Alright, let's talk about some gaming news, shall we? First news for everyone who's interested in Battlefield 5. They finally released now the Battlefield 5 minimum PC specs. So this is the bare minimum you need to play the game. If you have that, then you're you're good. So, oh great, OBS is doing its job again. Ah, thank you. Um, these are the bare minimum requirements you need for Battlefield 5. I have to say, if you could have played Battlefield 1, then you can technically play this game. I think the minimum requirements are not that bad, especially when it goes to the GPUs, which makes sense though. Um, Battlefield, interestingly enough, was always very CPU heavy. Like Battlefield always used a lot of CPU power instead of the GPU. Um, I don't know why, don't ask me. But yeah, these are the bare minimum requirements you need. And I have to say, a Core i5 6600K, something. That's definitely something they're asking for here. And this is just minimum. Not recommended, not the best thing you could do, just minimum. So keep that in mind. And if you want to run the game in some more beautiful graphics, then of course you will need a better PC. But I think the minimum requirements are still doable, and they're not that bad. But yeah, if you could have played Battlefield 1, the chances are pretty high that you can play Battlefield 5. Also interesting to mention, on Twitter, they explained everyone why they use the V and as the Roman numeric instead of the standard 5, and they were like, yeah, they're using it because it reminds people of the victory symbol they used in World War II. Especially Winston Churchill used the victory all the time when he could, and they basically adapt that for the Battlefield logo, which brings me to the bet we had, right? Where I had the bet that it will actually be called Battlefield Victory and not Battlefield 5. Well, I was wrong on that, I admit it, but they definitely had the V in mind. Well, they had the victory in mind when they designed the V for the new Battlefield, and I'm partially okay with that. So I was partially right. You know, I grab every win I can get. I grab every victory I can. They're just Spice Girl fans. Girl power and all that. Yes. Yes, that is what the V actually stands for. Yes. That's the Spice Girl logo. Yes. So, you know how the saying goes. When you say A, you have to say B. So in this case, if you say Battlefield, you have to say Call of Duty. And there are a few new infos regarding Black Ops 4. It seems like that the German GameStop website spoiled a little bit, and the beta for Call of Duty is going live in August. The PC will be included, so you don't have to be afraid as a PC player to miss out on it, which sometimes happens with Call of Duty games. It really depends who is developing the Call of Duty game, and then sometimes you get a PC beta or you don't. But I'm pretty sure they want to test it because this time the newest Call of Duty is exclusive to the Battle.net launcher, so you will not get it on Steam anymore. That's gone. And they probably want to test the matchmaking and whatnot. But yeah, beta will start in August. We don't know the exact date for it. And it also seems like that PS4 gets a few days of a head start when it comes to the Call of Duty beta, which makes sense. They have an exclusive deal with Sony, and with that they're getting the head start. But yeah, we will see how that goes. Alright, let's talk about the last news for today. And this one is a big one. One which makes me a little bit flustered here. And apparently the PUBG Corp is now taking Epic Games to court over Fortnite. They threatened Epic Games and Fortnite since last year that they will probably drag them to court because the games are too similar, and the PUBG Corp actually believes that Epic Games just blatantly copied from the game. And well, now they did it. They dragged them to court. It will be on the it will happen on the South Korean court. I think it's the main South Korean court. Don't ask me the name of it. It's in Seoul, and they will now take a look at the case. And I have to say, first, bad form. Very, very bad form from the PUBG Corp. Like, this makes you look like a sour loser, like somebody who was number one for a long, long time, then neglected their duties, because that's what they did, and then somebody else came around and did steal the crown. And now you're pissed about it, and now you're dragging Fortnite to court about it. And I have to say, that is very bad form. That just looks bad. I don't care for PUBG, I don't care for Fortnite, I don't play both games, right? You know that. But that is just, that looks so bad. When you were dragging someone to court because, well, you're basically not number one anymore. And that's just my personal opinion. Now let's talk about the real problem which is coming with this, which is interesting for everyone who is just partially interested in the gaming industry, or even as a gamer. This is very interesting for you, because let's say the court is agreeing that this is a real case, and they will look through the case, and in the end they will agree what the PUBG Corp is saying, and they say yes, Fortnite blatantly copied from PUBG, so Fortnite has to shut down, has to change certain elements or whatever, and they have to pay repercussions to the PUBG Corp. Let's say that happens. Do you know what that means for the gaming industry? An industry which did nothing else than just copying from each other over years. Like, every game is a copy of another. Like, every game took ideas, art, gameplay elements from other games to put it into their own. This is how one of the biggest games in the gaming industry were created in the first place, because they looked around, they saw other games doing certain things right, took these ideas, put them into their own game, and then adding their own ideas to it, and became a huge selling point. And that is absolutely wrong. PUBG and Fortnite were not made from the same company. That is absolutely wrong. Very different companies. They're using the same engine, which is the Unreal Engine. That is correct. And they're also owned partially by Tencent. So Epic Games and the PUBG Corp are both partially owned by Tencent. But Tencent is basically partially owning every gaming company out there. So no, that is very wrong. Yeah. But this is a huge problem for the gaming industry. Like, let's have another look at another game which is very similar to each other. Look at Path of Exile. Look at the interface. Take a look at the Diablo interface, and tell me that Path of Exile was not inspired by the Diablo interface. And you can do that with nearly every game out there. You can do that with every game out there, because that is what the gaming industry is doing, and what the gaming industry is actually also good at. Blizzard. Look at freaking Blizzard. Blizzard copied from so many games and from so many outside games. Like Blizzard blatantly copied from Warhammer and Warhammer 40k. When you look at StarCraft and Warcraft, they even admit it. I mean, they wanted to create a Warhammer game in the past, but they never got the rights to the Warhammer, IP, because the creators of Warhammer were just like, games? Blizzard? Who are you? And piss off. And that was basically the reaction, and Blizzard was like, well, then we are doing our own stuff. And they created Warcraft and StarCraft, because they couldn't get the IP. Like, a lot of the biggest companies out there became that big because they copied from somewhere else. And that is what is the gaming industry is defining. Just think about what would happen now if the court is actually agreeing on what the PUBG Corp is saying and is fining Epic Games about Fortnite. That would be devastating. That would start an outright war in the gaming industry about copying each other. It would be crazy impact. And there was this gentleman agreement, technically, where every company was just like, okay, I'm copying from you, you can copy from me, but you will never sue me and you will never say anything against it. And everyone was like, yeah, that's how we do it. And now the PUBG Corp is just coming in and smashing everything. It's like, dude, this is so dangerous what you're doing right here, just because somebody kicked you from your throne and you are not number one in the BR mode anymore. Bad form. Very bad form here. It's not just the gaming industry that could impact. True. Absolutely true. Yeah, I totally see that tech support. It's a dangerous game. The PUBG Corp is playing here. A very, very dangerous game. Or even Tencent. Like, I'm very interested if Tencent will react to this at all, because Tencent, as I said, is partially owning Epic Games and also the PUBG Corp and Bluehost Studios, which is the mother company of the PUBG Corp. And let's be honest here, Tencent makes a lot of money from just copying games. They're making a shit ton of money. And I'm very interested to see what Tencent thinks about the lawsuit. And if they have any saying in that lawsuit itself. I'm very interested to see that. So, yeah. That is bad news. I just hope that they will not win this battle. As I said, I'm not really caring for Fortnite. I don't actually care for PUBG. I'm not a battle royale player. I just don't care, right? But I'm just afraid what would happen to the other games out there. And it also just makes you look bad. It makes you look like a sour loser. And do you really want that? It's like, instead of just pumping in money into the lawsuit, you should probably use that money to make a game better and fight back. Just an idea here. But hey. But yeah, we will definitely look how this will develop, and if I get any new infos on this topic, which I think are important, then you will hear it here first.